Died of cancer when I was 7, and as much as it hurts to tell you this, the fact is I don't remember all that much about him. Every year, when it would have been my dad's birthday, me and Mom look through old pictures of us all, and she tells me stories about him. It sucked growing up without a dad, but my mom was amazing. I wasn't an easy teenager, and I blamed her for Dad not being around, and for the fact we didn't have a lot of money, and I was super mean at times. Now, at 20, I regret how I acted. Mom and I are super close now, and I would do anything for her. I always knew that we were similar, but I never could have imagined just how similar. It all started in the summer when I met Daniel. He came into the coffee shop I worked in every morning and ordered an espresso. One morning, he passed me a napkin with a time and the name of a local restaurant on it. At first, I was confused, but when I saw him smiling at me, I knew that he was asking me out on a date. He was in his late 30s, incredibly handsome, charming, and a super successful businessman. It wasn't long before I fell head over heels in love with Daniel. I noticed that Mom was acting differently. She started making an effort in her appearance, and she kept on disappearing at night, all dressed up to meet friends. I was sure that she was seeing a new man, but I didn't want to make her feel uncomfortable by mentioning it to her. One evening when my mom went out, I messaged Daniel to see if he wanted to come round. He replied that he was away on a business meeting. I found this odd because I'd seen him for lunch and he hadn't mentioned anything about a meeting. For the next few weeks, I saw Daniel fleetingly. It was kinda annoying that he always seemed so busy. One night, when I was staying over at his house, I told him how I felt. He told me that work would settle down and that he'd be able to spend more time with me. He told me that he loved me and saw a future with me. A few days later, the power went out at work, so I was able to go home early. When I arrived home, my mom walked out of her bedroom in her silk dressing gown and looked surprised when she saw me. "Zara, I didn't expect it to go like this, but there is someone I would like you to meet," she smiled. "This is Daniel, and he makes me very happy." That's when my Daniel walked out of her room in just a pair of boxers. When he saw me, he looked totally mortified. It was clear from the look on Mom's face that she was oblivious to what was going on. I felt so bad, as she deserved to be happy. But she needed to know who Daniel really was. "Mom, I know who Daniel is. I've been dating him for the last month." Daniel tried to charm his way out of the situation, but I wasn't having any of it. I shoved him out of the apartment and then threw his clothes out of the window. I don't know if Daniel knew he was seeing a mom and her daughter, or if it was coincidence. Either way, it turned out that he wasn't the decent man I thought he was. Feeling heartbroken, I went to a local bar with my friend Tina. We both drank a lot, and she left with some random guy. I sat there feeling totally devastated and alone. That's when I spotted a guy named Lee I used to go to school with. We started talking, and he bought me a drink, and I ended up going back to his place. I felt terrible the next day when he asked to see me again. He was such a sweet guy, but I didn't like him romantically. I'd just been drunk and feeling low. I made my excuses and left. When I arrived home, Mom was waiting for me. She hugged me, and we sobbed into each other's hair. We told each other how much we loved each other, and that some two-timing idiot wouldn't come between us. Life carried on, but then about a month later, I began to feel dizzy, and I had to leave work early because I couldn't stop throwing up. I told Tina I was ill, and she turned up with a pregnancy test, which I took. It was positive. I had no idea if it was Daniel's baby or Lee's. Either way, it didn't matter. One was a cheating scumbag, and the other was a sweet guy that I had absolutely no feelings for. A few weeks later, I confessed to Mom that I was pregnant, and she burst into tears and told me that she was pregnant too. We moved into a new house in a new town and vowed to raise our little ones together. When my beautiful baby girl was born, I did a DNA test using a hair found of Daniel's. Turns out my baby wasn't his. Mom had an adorable baby boy. She hasn't told Daniel about him, and she doesn't intend to. I haven't told Lee that he has a daughter. I convinced myself that Daniel would be the father, and there's no way I wanted him to know that he'd got both Mom and me pregnant. Now that Leah's the father, I feel bad. Should I tell him about our daughter and risk him not wanting to be a part of her life? Or do I not tell him at all?